Welcome back to Generative Geek. Today we are going to build this exciting game. We have a fully built snake game, right, which we started building from a screenshot. So I started from this. I started from this screenshot. And from this screenshot, using GPT-4o, which you can see here, and this is all part of the video that you're going to see, we built this fully functional game, right? Right, with three types of foods: green, red, and black, and a scoreboard, right? And each food gives you a different point, right? If I eat red, I probably get 20 points, right? So from 10 I went to 30. If I eat the green food, I get only 10, right? So things like that. I'm very excited to bring to you this video, and we'll learn iteratively how you take a screenshot, and from that screenshot go to a fully built game in Python using Pygame, right? Without writing a single line of code. That's the beauty of it. Let's get started. So I'm on my ChatGPT console. This is the Mac ChatGPT desktop app, but you can do the same thing on a web browser as well. And the model that I have selected is GPT-4o, right? So select GPT-4o. It's also available on the free version, if I understand it right. Mine is a paid version, but you get a lot of free usage as well on GPT-4o. So take GPT-4o, and now what we are going to do is we're going to say, hey, you know what? Let's just go to our browser and pick up an image of a snake game, right? So I'm just going to say snake game, and let's just see what all images come back. It'll give you a ton of images. The key thing here is we want the first image to be as simple as possible. So I'm going to go with something that is simple, right? I like this. It has layered out blocks, giving very clear instruction to the model that hey, these are all square blocks. There's a snake written. There's something red which indicates this is what the snake has to eat, and things like that. So I like this. I'm just going to take a screenshot of this image and then give it to ChatGPT. So this image becomes my key input to the GPT-4o model. I'm just going to bring it here and say, as an expert, and I'm giving it a role. I'm saying, hey, as an expert Python game developer, I want you to build this simple snake game, right? Simple is an important attribute I'm adding here, because if you just say, hey, build a snake game, it can go into all the fancies of building the game, building the leaderboard, giving it a lot of controls. I want a very simple game initially. Build a very simple game initially, right? That's what I want. That's what I want it to do. Now what is going to happen is ChatGPT should ideally read this and start giving me the code that I need to execute, like we saw in our Tetris video. Same way, but let's just, while it's typing out the code, let's just go to our coding environment, which is Visual Studio Code, and get started, right? So I already have my environment ready. If you don't have, we'll need Pygame. That's also the first instruction that ChatGPT is asking us to do. It's saying pip install Pygame, right? So I already have Pygame, but if you don't have, maybe install Pygame. I'm not getting into the nitty gritties of how you set up an environment. If you want to learn about how to set up an environment, my recommendation is go to the linked video on Tetris. The first couple of minutes has how do you set up an environment. My environment is already set up, and I want to get to the juice of this video now. So the first thing is, we'll just say, let's make a file called snake.py, right? And at this point, I'm not reading the code. I don't know that much of Pygame, like I mentioned last time. All I'm going to do is just copy whatever code it gave me and say, okay, control S, command S, save, go to the terminal, and just type python snake.py, right? So at this point, I can see that there is some snake game available, right? It looks pretty neat. There's a blue background that it has given it. Oops, okay. Or C to play again. Oh, very nice. It has also given me controls to say, hey, you want to quit? So let's say if I hit the wall, I get this message saying you lost. Press Q to quit or C to play again. If I press Q, I'm sure this application will close. I want to play again, so I'm going to press C now. So pressing C, I get this. Now let's just press the down button. The snake is going down. Capturing the fruit is always hard. Okay. Come back again. Looks pretty nice, but I'm really struggling. Also because those that fruit was very close to the wall. And all the controls, left, right, up, down, seem to be working well. I can also see the snake increasing in size. But how about this? How about we bring in a new sort of an enhancement to this game, where we say, hey, instead of just one fruit, let's have three fruits on the screen. Can we do that? Let's ask ChatGPT, right? So I'll just intentionally do this, and I have not yet tested the Q button. Now let me press Q, and okay, the game closes. Wonderful, right? This is fantastic, right? Let's give it some reward, right? However, can you bring? Can you make an enhancement such that there are always three fruits on the screen for the snake to eat? Right, so I'm just saying, hey, let's now I'm trying to enhance this game. I'm doing some sort of an iterative prompting with it. I'm saying, hey, what you did was fantastic. Now I want you to go back and see, can you help me with a slightly more modified and an enhanced version of the game, where instead of one fruit I want three fruits, right? It's going to do its work, it's going to come back, give me the code. I'm not reading the code. I have no intention of reading the code right now, right? And even though the code looks fairly simple, and if I, let's just say, even in the worst case, if I do want to read the code, I can just ask ChatGPT to explain the code to me, right? I don't even have to know my game to make sense of this code. So let's just come back here again to our snake.py, delete everything, and then come back. Like, why am I deleting and not, like, saving it somewhere? Because I always have the option to go back. And this is like, the objective here is to just show the abilities of the model, and what it is capable of, right? At some point in near future, I'm also going to build web apps just by giving screenshots, right, and see what comes back. Today, we are building a game, right? Next week, we'll probably try to build a simple web app using Django, Flask, Python, and C, and HTML, and see what comes back. My game is ready. Let's go to the terminal, run this, python snake.py, see what's come back. Oh wow, I can see three fruits now. And my snake is here. I can now keep, and as soon as I eat the first fruit, I can see another fruit pop up, right? uh, Maybe one other enhancement I can think of is make the fruits different color, right? Why do you have to, all the fruits have to be same color, right? And how about a scoreboard, right? Why can't I have a scoreboard? Every time I eat a fruit, I would want to see some 10 points go up, things like that, right? So this time I seem to be playing all right. Maybe the ability to see more fruits on the screen helps, right? So let's intentionally kill it now, right? So, and I'll say Q. I like what ChatGPT has done. I like your work. Can you have a leaderboard? Every time I eat, every time the snake eats a fruit, uh, it's a fruit, give it 10 points, right? So let's see what comes back, right? So I like your work. Can you have a leaderboard? Every time snake eats a fruit, give it 10 points. It's going to say, okay, now let me just, all it has to do is, if you think from a logic perspective, it knows that, hey, snake is eating the fruit, and that's the reason it's able to increment the counter and bring three fruits back into the system, onto the screen. Now, uh, it has to do is, hey, every time a new the snake eats some food, it has to come back and say, hey, increment the counter by 10, whatever is the score counter, right, and display the score counter somewhere, right? I'm sure that's what it is trying to do. I'm not a score variable, so it's giving us the change log as well. It's saying, hey, the score variable keeps track of the current score. There's a draw score function. So the draw score function, clearly the name suggests that, it is going to draw the leaderboard for us, right? So I can also see a draw leaderboard. This will be an interesting one. Let's just copy this, come back, dismiss everything, again recopy, resave, uh, repaste, resave, come back. Your score 0, wonderful, I can see this, right? So your score is now 10, wonderful. 20, wonderful. 30, 40, very good. Now let's just bring another. Okay, so there is something where, I can see some last dump coming up saying, hey, you got 40 Fine, no problem. I'm not getting into fixing this right now. I'm thinking, can you now enhance the game further, right? Your work has been great so far, right? I'm giving it a reward signal so that it knows that it's doing the right job, right? It's understanding my instructions clearly, and I now want it to enhance the game further. So how do we do that? We'll say, hey, you know what? I want you to color the fruits on the screen differently, right? Green, red, and black, right? Each color type has to have different points. Pick whatever works for you, right? So I'm not giving it, hey, green needs to have 5 and red needs to have 10. I'm saying, hey, you pick whatever you want. Each color type has to have different points. Pick whatever works for you. Give me the final working code, right? So let's see what comes back, right? We started with this image. If you remember, we started with this image. We said, hey, give us a very basic game, and it gave us a 1 square by 1 square kind of 1 square, which was the initial snake, and one fruit. From there, we enhanced the game. We asked it that, hey, let's add more blocks to more fruits to add, and then we added a leaderboard. Now I'm saying, hey, make the game slightly more different, where different foods have different points, right? And it is still building the game. Let's just see what comes back. And see, check if snake head collides with any food, because this is the point where it has to update the score. You can see score plus equal to 10. This is where it's saying green will be 10, red will be 20, black will be 30, and wonderful, right? So yeah, let's just copy this code now and bring it onto VS Code. uh, okay, I'm just going to copy paste again, save, clear, python snake.py. Wonderful. I see now there are 3 types of food. I'm going to eat the red one. I got 20. Green gave me 10. Black should give me. So you can see now it is. It's not that all the food items have same scores, and we can continue to go on to do more and more enhancements. So you can say, hey, you know what, the red fruit, because it has 20 points, should be maybe bigger, or the food item that has lesser points should be bigger because it will be easier to catch. We can go on and on, right? My objective with this video today was to just help you get started, make you think, make you visualize how you can use GPT-4o to build these cool games for yourself. And why not impress your friends, impress your teachers, learn something new, right? Build these things, learn something new for your own self, right? That's what I'm doing personally. So go on. You don't need to be an expert in code. Hand on heart, I don't know anything about pygame. I know very very little about pygame, but I know python, so I know what it is trying to do. But if you tell me, hey, can you generate a game which will do this, or can you generate a tic-tac-toe, can you generate a snakes and ladders, can you generate some sort of a dice game, I can't, right? That's the truth. But if you give me a screenshot, I have some chance now where I can go back to GPT-4o and say, hey buddy, can you help me out, right? That's my goal now. So I hope you learned something new. It was fun. And there you have it. We have a fully working game now, right? We can play this game for as long as we want. We started with something as simple as a screenshot, and we have landed here. We have a fully built game where the snake is growing in size. It can traverse in any direction, up, left, right, down, and we have a scoreboard, right? My suggestion is, if you are playing along, if you are coding along, take this code and ask ChatGPT to now add more complexities to it. Like, maybe why not add more fruits, right? Different fruit sizes. Maybe add levels to the game, right? Go wild with your creativity. We have a tool that is going to give us what we want, and if it doesn't give us what we want, at max, we'll still have a playable game, right? Build your repository, impress your friends, learn something new. Go on and do it. I hope you learned something new today. And if you enjoyed this video, if you liked what I presented to you, please do like, subscribe, comment, share. It all helps me understand whether this type of content resonates with your liking or not. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned something. And till next time, take care.